Daily life in ancient Egypt. Around 1200 BC, ancient Egypt was one of the longest-lasting civilizations in human history. For more than 3,000 years, Egyptian society remained remarkably stable, shaped by geography, religion, and strict social organization. In this narration, we examine what daily life was like in ancient Egypt around 1200 BC during the New Kingdom period, focusing on work, food, social structure, religion, and daily routines. Life in ancient Egypt was centered around the Nile River. The Nile flooded annually, depositing fertile soil that made agriculture possible in an otherwise arid environment. This predictable flooding cycle allowed Egypt to produce food surpluses, support a large population, and maintain political stability. Nearly every aspect of Egyptian life, from farming schedules to religious beliefs, depended on the river. Most Egyptians lived in modest homes made of mud brick. These houses were designed to remain cool, with thick walls, small windows, and flat roofs. Daily routines followed the sun rather than clocks. People typically woke early, worked during cooler morning hours, rested during the intense midday heat, and resumed activity in the late afternoon. The Egyptian diet was simple but consistent. Bread and beer formed the foundation of most meals. Bread was made from emmer wheat, while beer was lightly fermented and safer to drink than untreated water. Vegetables such as onions, leeks, and lentils were common, while meat was eaten less frequently and usually reserved for wealthier households or special occasions. Egyptian society was highly structured. At the top stood the pharaoh, believed to be a divine ruler responsible for maintaining order, known as Mayat. Below the pharaoh were priests, nobles, and government officials. Scribes played a crucial role, as literacy was rare and essential for administration, trade, and record-keeping. Farmers, craftsmen, and laborers made up the majority of the population. Large construction projects, such as temples and tombs, were built by paid workers rather than slaves. Egypt did not use coins during this period. Instead, goods were exchanged through barter, with grain serving as the standard unit of value. Markets offered pottery, linen, tools, fish, and agricultural products. Egypt also maintained trade networks with neighboring regions, importing materials such as cedar wood, copper, and precious stones. Religion permeated all aspects of Egyptian life. The Egyptians worshipped a complex pantheon of gods, each responsible for natural forces and human activities. Religious rituals were performed daily in temples and private homes. Belief in the afterlife was central, and Egyptians prepared extensively for death, believing that preserving the body and performing proper rituals ensured eternal life. Family life formed the foundation of Egyptian society. Marriages were arranged informally, and women retained legal rights uncommon in many ancient societies, including the ability to own property and initiate divorce. Children typically learned trades from their parents, while formal education was reserved for elite families, particularly those training to become scribes. As daylight faded, daily activity slowed. Without artificial lighting, most people relied on oil lamps and firelight. Evenings were spent eating, socializing, and resting. Sleep followed the natural rhythm of daylight, reinforcing a structured and predictable lifestyle. Daily life in ancient Egypt was defined by stability, routine, and a deep connection to religion and nature. This consistency allowed Egyptian civilization to endure for millennia, leaving behind monuments, written records, and cultural traditions that continue to influence the modern world. This has been Time Tellers. Thank you for listening.